Hey hobbyists, welcome to part 4 of the Texas meat planks, where we go from this to this. Stick around, see how I pull it off. I have a confession to make. You'll remember, best cutting board ever, and then my huge Texas meat plank. Have some problems with them. Fortunately, I haven't sold any yet to customers. This one has a slight leak. I am going to have to figure out where the leak is and how to refill it. I think it's where the knot fillers has failed. This guy, the best one I ever made, everything in the walnut connection is perfect. It's great. However, I've got some considerable checking here. I've done a little bit of research and watched a couple videos. And if you watch this video here, which I'll leave a link to down there, he talks about, what's the ultimate cutting board and the fight with bacteria and all that sort of thing. So it's a really good watch. I really highly recommend watch that, especially if you're a cutting board builder. End grain ultimately is the best way to go, which makes these cookies seem ideal. However, you have so much tension in these boards that even doing this, which was basically to repair a split, I'm still getting tension here. And the most stable way to do that is cut them in quarters. So what I may do is I'm gonna build another one. And it's not gonna be a cutting board per se, but I wanna do a Lazy Susan with it because it really lays itself out to it. My sister-in-law is dying for one, and it's high time I made her one. So I have this guy, which has been flattened, and it split on me right after flattening it. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna quarter it, and then I'm gonna do the inlay, not the inlay, the filler blocks is what we'll call them, in here in kind of a pizza formation. A little more work, but pulling this off and then applying that same trade to this is fairly compelling, and I think it could probably be pretty useful. I've got better tools now. I've got a better understanding of these things. Doesn't mean it'll be 100% correct, but should be interesting. So let's get to work on this guy, and let's build a Lazy Susan charcuterie serving table cutting board and see how that goes. That's a nightmare. This trips, it's just gonna take that whole thing and twirl it into my hand. It'll just twirl it like this and off into me or God knows what. That's not safe. I wish that jigsaw worked better. This is terrifying, so no. I really just need it steady on there. What's this gonna look like? Oh, baby. All right, thank you, Bauer miter saw. It cut right on a check, and so it's lifting away, but that is flat. One's got a little bit of a problem there, but I'm still putting these over the joiner. I think I need to square them at perfect 90s. I mean, we're already sacrificing a lot of wood to do it, because otherwise getting that centerpiece in there and glued is gonna be a trick. That's a good 90. That's not. That is definitely not. That is not. That's a problem, but it's gonna have to get filled. And when I put that other walnut in there, that'll compress that. I think the thing to do is build 2 halves and then a long, full. Question is, will this really reduce the stress on all these fibers to keep them from checking any further or breaking? I don't know. We'll find out. Forgot to lock my gate or fence. I have an idea. We're gonna lose more material, but it'll take advantage of the scrap. I could continue this and do kind of a semi-square on here, and here, and here, and here. That might be interesting. Just with a little bit of live edge left on it. Here again, I just want to reiterate, this really is a laboratory experiment, and I'm kind of testing as we go. I don't know if these will still check. I don't know if we're relieving enough tension in the board to keep it from splitting, but that's kind of the whole point of this whole channel is I'm learning as I go, and I want to find new ways of doing things that are done in more conventional manner. I hate losing the grain to end grain, so let's see what happens and just keep that in mind. The question is, does it really need to be a perfect octagon? I really want to leave live edge because I think that's part of the signature of the Texas meat plank. A little unorthodox, I understand. But it freaking works, okay? It's been 1 hour. They suggest a minimum of 30 minutes. So I'm going to very carefully take these off. I'm actually gonna leave these screws in for now because when I clamp this, I'm probably gonna need them because we'll need clamps here and clamps here. You've seen me do this before in other builds. Right here I'm using my pocket knife to just improve those gaps so the knot filler actually fills in. I'm not wedging the board apart or anything like that, just trying to improve and get rid of some of the fine fibers in there so that filler gets in there and really penetrates deeply. One element I'm going to add that I've never done before is inlay these Topo Chico bottle caps. My wife came up with the idea because Sarah and her husband were mad about Topo Chicos. I thought it'd be kind of a nice little accent to really kind of make it unique and customize it just for her. And here is my first attempt at using epoxy. I'm going to first treat all the holes with a quick thin layer of epoxy to seal them so we can mitigate the air bubbles. A little bit nervous doing this. What you don't see is, because I forgot to record it, basically, the resin runs out anyway. So when I dropped the bottle cap in there, it was dripping onto the sides of what we're calling the live edge. So what I ended up doing was actually taking the epoxy and spreading it into those rougher grooves. And so that particular face, those 4 faces where the bottle caps sit, I'm going to just spread the epoxy along. And once the oil finish is on there, you can almost not tell the difference at all. It's just it'll have a little more stable epoxy edge on those faces. Here I'm just using 1/2-inch rough plywood for the bases. I'll cut those into 12-inch squares, a little bit more than 12 inches. And I ended up cutting them into octagons so those points don't stick out, and they turned out pretty good. And here I'm just going to drop in the boards onto the miter saw and clean up those edges where the epoxy dripped onto what I'm calling the finished edge, and just give me a much cleaner transition. Back to installing the Lazy Susan hardware. It's a little tricky. I'm going to drop a link to a video that Woodcraft did to show you how to install them. They're kind of cool. Just takes a little bit of planning and thinking through it, but they worked out pretty good, and the thing is smooth as butter. Once I had the hardware pre-drilled, go ahead and put on the mineral oil. Butcher block mineral oil is what I use, with a little bit of stain in it, and then right back to putting the base on. Let's face it, it had to be done. Anyway, as you can tell, I am super excited about this. It's a laboratory experiment. We'll see how it turns out. It's going to need to stress test for a couple months, but in a nice clean environment with minimal moisture and temperature changes, I think it'll be okay. We'll see. I'll report back and let y'all know. Either way, I'm super excited to give it to Sarah, and it was a lot of fun, and I hope to do more soon. If you guys try this, please let me know. Or if you have comments on what I should do, leave comments below and we'll see if we can get it worked out. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.